Hello, everyone, and welcome to the TechChill conference, Oracle keynote session. So today we have with us our guest, Duncan Harvey, Oracle Vice President for Technology, Strategy, and Sales Programs. Hello, Duncan. Nice to have you.
Hi, Andrius. Hi, everybody. Thank you for having me.
Hello. My name is Andrius Skuncikas. I'm managing Oracle business in the Baltics, Lithuania, Latvia, and Estonia, and really glad to be part of this TechChill conference. So today in this relaxed mode discussion, so we don't have any slides. It's a benefit probably for the attendees. So today the discussion will be around the topic. So how to scale with Oracle, and how to gain enterprise power, and with a price tag of the startup. So this sounds a bit controversial, probably, Duncan, because historically, even in Baltics, in Latvia, Oracle was considered as the enterprise player usually. And the fact that we are part of this conference, TechChill conference, which is aiming to the segment of high-tech companies, startup companies, and being in this, crossroad between East and West, from the small market and scaling globally. So what would be your perspective from the broader region? So why this segment companies should look at Oracle, and simply saying, isn't Oracle from technology standpoint of view, isn't it like too heavy or like too enterprise for this segment?
They're really good questions, Andrius. I mean, really good questions. I mean, it's interesting because every company and organization I've spoken with for the last 18 months, maybe a little bit longer actually, has the same goals, the same wants and the needs, really regardless of their size or the location. And actually, even before the COVID pandemic hit us, I saw very similar needs and wants, but what COVID has done is made those things accelerate. And what I'm going to say really is it's the same if you're an enterprise organization or you're a startup in an emerging market. Everybody wants to use digital platforms to deliver a great experience and a great outcome for their users, their customers, their citizens, their investors, their charitable donators, whatever their audience is. And they need to do that in a trusted and a credible way. And if they're in a competitive market, they want to be able to differentiate from competitors, or they want to add something extra in the non-competitive world. I mean, ultimately, everybody's trying to make a positive difference. And what's happened with COVID is a lot of those digital transformation plans have been accelerated months or years ahead of schedule. But effectively, everybody's looking for efficiency and results. And it doesn't matter if you're a huge global bank and retailer, or you're a small startup or a smaller organization in a local emerging market. You've got to be delivering value. And so really what everybody's trying to do is, what I hear about the trends and the patterns of behavior, that everybody wants to leverage digital solutions either to build upon what's already there, or to use what's already given to them for maximum results. Of course, today, pretty much all of that is cloud-based because most of the startup organizations particularly don't have a history of other stuff to work with. And that in a lot of cases is great because it means they've got freedom to some extent. But of course, freedom, it can be really scary sometimes because freedom means choice. And certainly in the cloud world, and when you're a tech startup, there's a whole load of different people trying to offer you some really, really good stuff. And that means you've got to make some quite difficult decisions. And really, that's where Oracle's history comes in. Because we've been developing and delivering technology for a long time. We are an enterprise grade company and have been doing this since I was at school. And maybe there are people on this call who weren't even born right when Oracle started delivering technology. But you know what? That experience is really, really good, right? So we've got great development and support teams. We're a pretty secure business, and that means that we can offer security and reliability to our startups as partners, which maybe other vendors can't do. And we really try to pass on all of our experience now, as you said, Andrius, in an earlier point in a cost-effective way, and really kind of to pass on for the next generation. And of course, one of the great things about being an enterprise company is we have loads of customers, we have a massive marketplace, we have great mentoring and support within it, and all of those things can become accessible to those partners. Now, obviously, that enterprise legacy is something we're proud of, but I always think that a good technical solution is a good solution regardless of where it's come from. It's about where it gets used in the end. And I don't know whether the people on the call today will know that Oracle sponsor Formula One, right? And I'm a Formula One racing fan. And the reason I'm saying that is because Formula One engine improvements and fuel efficiencies, as well as safety and security, they develop those things for their own needs to win at Formula One. But they've all been passed on now to us in general society. The car I drive, I'm sure the car you drive, Andrius, has benefits from the Formula One technology. And the point is, a great solution is a great solution. And likewise, we also support the Premier League now. And I'm sure if anybody here is a football fan, you'll say that a great footballer is a great footballer, regardless of which club they came from originally, right? So yeah, we've got a legacy, but we've got some really, really great technology there to offer. And Andrius, would you like me to maybe go through some of the things which I think are important about what we do? Would that be useful to talk over a couple of things?
Yeah, so, really thank you for confirming this from the strategic point of view of Oracle, like a global company that, this where all this started. So Oracle started developing technology from the security, having like in the center, and then developing all the functionality around it, and then focusing on maximum performance. And now if looking at the portfolio that Oracle has, so it's really huge and wide. And probably like explaining to the CTO of the high-tech company starting their operations from Latvia. So basically it's like one simple message. Don't be afraid to bet on Oracle technology, because we are the vendor to whom you can delegate that part.
Absolutely, and as you've just touched on, we've got a heritage in this business, right? So, and you just said something really important about security. One of the things which every organization I talk with, as I say, whether it's small, brand new, emerging organizations or large enterprises, there are a common set of things which impact the decisions they make about technology. Yes. Security is a key one, right? And it's not just the platform you choose, the cloud platform, for example, but it's the components within there you need to be secure. So your data stores, your APIs, your integration points. And Oracle Cloud has been built on that foundation. We've got multi-layers of cloud security, isolation of tenants in our databases and everything else, or even within the data management tools, for example, there's encryption, masking, and so on. So there's a ton of stuff on the security level, which we can already offer literally out of the box. But that also goes beyond that to things like scale and performance. So again, as startups develop and grow, we're looking for, we want to offer solutions which enable a new startup to size their business and to size their spend based on what they're ultimately trying to deliver. So again, all of our products are designed to kind of scale up and scale down as we need them. And we've got options like pay as you go, as well as the other startup packages, which we can talk about in a minute, which make it really cost effective. Performance wise, we're red hot in terms of a performance provider. There's lots of external performance price comparisons available between Oracle and other people, and the folks on the call can go and read them themselves. But whether you're looking at us for compute services or where you're looking at us for a reliable performance pattern, Oracle's pretty good with that. And also we throw in things like backups and recovery and stuff like that, which are kind of stuff which you have to do yourself if you're building your platform yourself. Yes. But that's all built on top of it. Plus, the key thing for me, I was an ex-developer. I developed C++ and other code for a very, very long time. And I was looking for sort of open source and open compatibility. So Oracle are going out of our way now to provide as much freedom of choice to developers and to platform provide, as a platform provider. So whether it's to do with our partnership with VMware or the work we do with Microsoft, or the way we try to make sure it's as easy as possible to integrate with multi-clouds and so on. All of those things are part of trying to make it as easy as possible for developers and startups to use what we've got.
Yes.
And maybe, Andrius, if I say one last thing on the platform, sorry to shed. I think there's a big thing about buy or build. So again, 20 years ago when I was a developer, I would write everything. And I can tell you, I wrote a lot of very bad things. And today, when you look at things like digital assistants and you look at machine learning or artificial intelligence, to start this stuff yourself would be unbelievably hard. I'm not saying people can't do it. Of course they can, but it's really hard to do that stuff. From my perspective, and one of Oracle's goals is we would much rather pass on pre-built components or pre-built foundations, at least, for all of those things, whether it's machine learning, data science, artificial intelligence, blockchain, digital assistants, or all of the other cloud native choices which we offer for startups. We want to give those effectively pre-ready so that the teams watching this call can just get on with actually developing the solution or building what they want to build, rather than having to focus on actually building the platform themselves. So hopefully there's an advantage of speed and agility which can come from that.
Yeah. Thank you for this perspective. I exactly wanted to go this direction, and thank you for touching this point. So for CTO, from our side, the confirmation is that Oracle is not a closed platform. So it has all the open standards, open interfaces, and we call ourselves an open platform. And the fact that we are getting now into the conferences like TechChill and to the audience of like 2,000 plus attendees, so it means that we are confident that we have this interface to work with this dynamic environment of the high-tech companies, and we are not afraid for that. So, and the proof that even if looking from the Baltics market perspective, or just taking Latvia, so we already have high-tech companies of the size of small and medium size who are now started their business from Latvia and looking for this scale opportunities globally. And they did bet on Oracle technology as a platform, as the foundation of that. And you touched upon this aspect that, betting on certain global vendor versus building yourself. So probably there are multiple aspects. We touched upon technical aspect, but as well I can say that our Oracle for Startups program, which we have and which we highly advertise in the country, has as well this very strong element of the cost that we can present now. Really, our technology and the entry point level is no more this enterprise where you need to have really high budget, high investments, but you can start from some lean functionality, start using certain functionality, and then scale up by using more and more components. But question, what benefit CTO would get, and what other cost aspects maybe you could mention from Oracle that could be, of interest for this audience?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you've hit on a key thing, right? Something you said earlier on was the amount of startups who are already working with Oracle, and there are lots. And so on oracle.com startups, you can see, as you know, Andrius, really well, and hopefully the attendees are looking, you can see great examples of organizations we've developed with. And actually, just before I talk about cost, you don't think of Zoom as being a startup anymore, but Zoom was a startup, right? And Zoom is now a mega corporation. But only a couple of years ago, they were developing, and Zoom chose to work with us because in a startup mentality, if I'm honest with you, they needed something which was secure and reliable and perform, but which would scale. And it also had to be cost effective. So although Zoom is now incredibly successful, when we were working with them initially, it was very much as a startup kind of way of thinking, right? So they're a very large example of where we can go. But yeah, price is important, right? So nobody wants to pay more than they have to, particularly in the cloud world. And actually, so Oracle offer a couple of different things. We do offer free cloud credits for anybody, which can be a good way to kind of get started. if you want to sort of test the waters a little bit. And in fact, we also offer something called the always free tier. But the big difference about the free cloud credits and the always free tier is really you can't use those for commercial purposes. It really is there for kind of educational needs. So if you really are clear that you're a startup and you're clear about where you want to start going, the startup subscription is a great way to go, because immediately that gives you some really good cheap entry points. I think it can give something like a 70% discount over a couple of years, which is incredibly strong. But really, as a side effect, and I touched on this as well, through that subscription, you're getting access to Oracle, right? So you can you get obviously the technologies, the enterprise technologies available to you, all of the components we spoke about, but you also get, depending on your startup type, you can get access to mentoring, migration support. You can even get access to our marketplace. And again, Oracle have got hundreds upon hundreds of thousands of customers, which is an impact of our enterprise legacy. But potentially they can be available to the startups on this call as well. So the startup subscription is a really, really great way of getting going with Oracle, using all of those pre-built components and access to mentoring and support, which I think, to be honest with you, is unique. I think so. Yeah, we're very proud of that.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you, Duncan, for this overview. And really, like, combining probably then those two aspects that we discussed, the technological maturity and all the functionality that a dynamic company can delegate to the global vendor. So this is one element. Then really low entry point and competitive pricing is like the second element. And those two elements to me kind of summarize that this is a good package from us, from Oracle, that we offer to the high-tech companies, which would enable this faster time to market. And then company could really, focus on the business operations, on their core operations, and delegate certain functions to Oracle. So I wanted to emphasize
that is
this. Yeah.
100% with you, Andrius. And actually, that's a critical thing, right? Again, I mentioned I was a developer and I used to build stuff. These days, you don't have time as a startup or as a business to spend time on building unless you really, really have to. So because we've been around for such a long time and we've got a lot of really good technology which we want to pass on, the fact is, you can choose those components and you can do that with really limited risk. So we talked about the cost and we talked about all of the other platform choices, but the fact is the stuff we build and we release, because it has to be enterprise quality, it's pretty rock solid. And I'll give you a really simple example, and Andrius knows this, but within my team, we're always changing. Andrius, your organization is always changing because we have new markets and new things to do with our customers. So within Oracle, we have a startup mentality, right? Even for people like me who've been here 10 or more years. And my team, we use our own technologies in exactly the same way as the startups would use. We have our own access, fortunately. So whether it's using the autonomous database, which is one of our products, and analytics to do some really clever data management stuff on what we do, or whether we do prototypes with Apex, which is a low-code development platform, or we even use digital assistants, Oracle digital assistants, to communicate, for example, with sales teams or others. We're trying out in the same way as the startups. The benefit the startups get is you're going to get it really, really at an ultra good price, and you've got access to the entire ecosystem. So, we're doing the same thing within the company, and I think it's great that people on the call are going to be able to access all of that themselves. Why build anything if somebody else has already built an enterprise grade product? Hopefully that will be really, really beneficial.
Exactly. And then, focusing on core business operations, it really makes sense. And then delegating certain stuff to Oracle. And with that, probably I will summarize that really we are here, and we are not this big enterprise player who is like talking only to enterprise companies. We are really eager to talk to this industry of high-tech companies. And with that, I would like to thank you, Duncan, for your sharing your experience. And to the audience of this keynote session and to the TechChill conference, I would like to to again invite to continue dialogue with Oracle or open the dialogue with Oracle, because we are here even present in the Baltics, even in Latvia. So we have colleagues like Liesma Sakovic, Andrius Šnipke, Edgar Srungis, who can talk to you in local language. Or you can speak to our Oracle for Startups regional representatives who will be present in our other sessions, in other roundtables of TechChill conference. So really, thank you for your time, and let's keep the dialogue.